Foottrading.co.uk is now live and site areas are being rolled out all the time. Icons are live, fluctuations are live, chem styles are live, and you guys will make millions of coins. We've got guys in the Discord that are making tons of coins, selling them, making profit from using the site. Tournament areas are also about to go live for you guys to win competitive prizes. It's going to be absolutely awesome. You'll never need to buy FIFA points again, we guarantee it. So check out the site, but for now, let's get into the video. Yo, what is up guys? Welcome back to a new video with me, Fuzzball40. Make sure you subscribe if you're new around here. We've just surpassed 37,000 subscribers. Thank you to everyone that has chosen to join us on the journey this year. It's not too late to get involved. If you can click that like button right now, it makes a huge difference. And if you drop a comment, as you'll see in all my other videos, I comment back to every single person. And check out Foot Trading. Everything I show you in these videos, everything I show you on stream is all covered on the website. So many of you subscribed, and we've got guys that are well over the million coin mark now. It's absolutely amazing this year, and we're going to keep grinding it out for you guys. But today you should see the start of UCL content on the game. Now, it could be today, it could be tomorrow, depends on what day EA feel like it. But UCL content with it always brings incredible options to trade, and I love it because there's a certain amount of supply without being ridiculous amounts of supply. It brings the market down ever so slightly before it bounces back. So I'm going to show you guys how you can trade. I'm going to show you guys how you can invest. I'm going to talk about everything you need to know tonight to make coins on this game. I'll be right back. Right guys, so I've got ourselves highlighted now on Marquee Match Ups. Of course, this comes out usually on a Thursday and will always come out on a Thursday. But what tends to happen when we get Champions League content is we get UCL Marquee Match Ups. And what EA tends to do is pick two games on the UCL, and it's basically the UCL Marquee Match Ups that are one game, another game, and then a final pack. So you get 3 packs from it. So how can that affect the market? The first thing to realise with Marquee Match Ups is almost every single person does Marquee Match Ups. It's pretty much guaranteed profit. And for a lot of us right now, we've got a lot of untradables in our club. So we're using the untradables to get tradable packs we can then sell back. So that's the first little simple bit of tip for you, is make sure you do Marquee Match Ups and try and use the untradables up in your club. Simple as that. Sell everything you get from the packs to make coins back. But we're talking about trading here. So what's going to happen is everyone's going to do Marquee Match Ups tonight, and that's going to give us a great chunk of supply. So where do we put our coins, okay? So first thing I want to talk about are in these random sort of meta cards, and the ones I always show you, I'm going to show you again because they all tend to do really well. Now I'm looking at the graph here for DRB. There's a couple of things you have to note for DRB. The first of these is that obviously his price got hit by Kudos coming out. The second is, for all of the cards we're looking at, you also need to bear in mind that last week we had a huge amount of panic, a massive amount of panic before the Friday release came out. So the cards did drop even further than potentially they would normally drop. But as you can see, on the Thursday, Marquee Match Ups comes out and they're dipping and dipping and dipping and coming down in value. If we look at Ansu Fati, again, if we look at his hourlies, not hourlies, his dailies, you can see 9.7k is high, 9.7k on a Tuesday, got right down to 2.5k. Now these prices are an average. I picked up a lot of fatties at 2,000 coins and I sold them at 2.9 when he got back to there. It does fluctuate a little bit. There's always sort of give or take 10 to 15% either side, all right? So he's down at 2.5. Now Fatty at the moment is showing us 2.7, but really he is about 2.8, 2.9k. So Fatty, again, we saw the drop off, the bounce back. Randall Colomawani, again, if you look at him, he's at 29k at the moment, got as low as what it said was 26, but actually you could pick him up at 25 at certain points, I think even 24. So these cards can be picked up tonight relatively cheaply. So if you're low budget, someone like an Ansu Fati could probably do quite well, could do relatively well anyway. Now, the way that you cover yourself off with all of these investments is to buy them with things like hunters on them. Really, hunters and shadows are what protect your investments if you're making them in the short term. So let's say Fati does get down tonight. Now, bearing in mind that there's only going to be so much more demand for Fati because a lot of people have done the evolutions already. Still people to do them though. Someone like Fati, you want to get down to its very low and you follow his price down, okay? You let him drop and drop and drop. And then only when you slowly start to see the price level out, only then do you then go and buy them. So let's say he levels out at 2,000 coins. The way you know he levels out is if there's multiple pages of that card on the game. Some of you guys buy when there's 3 left at 2,000. Not always the way. You want to let multiple pages come up and that will give you his price. What you're trying to do though is pick him up with a hunter. And it's as simple as that, because what will happen is Ansu Fati might rise back up by 400 or 500 coins. But if you've got him with a hunter, he's going to rise way further than that. And that's going to protect your investment. And I always say it. Even with Colomawani, the gap on him between his normal card like this and the Hunter isn't significant. But once he rises in value, he's going to rise that extra little bit to give you some more coins. Now, I wouldn't advise you all now go out and buy Diaby or Randall Colomwani, because loads of people are now going to do that. Fatty is relatively safe if you're getting with a Hunter. But again, the easy way to find these players that you want to sort of buy into is just to click onto FootWiz and look at this first page. This is going to give you cards that are on this first page that have a value. So, I don't know, you might look at Llorente's at 24,000 coins. How this card is still so cheap, I will never know. But you might look at Llorente and think 24,000 coins, okay, cool. Where's my buy point on him? Possibly down towards the 20, 21k mark with Shadow. That's really what you've got to be thinking about. But there's something you can do before you start buying these cards, and that is to look at the requirements for the SBCs. So if we look at the marquee matchups for this week, basically, if we go to SBCs and we go to marquee matchups, these are the games that came out for marquee matchups this week, okay? And Barcelona-Sevilla was the one that made all the money. I think it required both a Barcelona and a Sevilla player, but there was also a massive glitch on this that could have made you a ton of coins too, so I'll talk about that in a second. But if we look at the players, Oriol Romeo, for example, again on a Wednesday, 580 coins up to a high of sort of 900. He's basically at 1,000 coins now. Marcos Alonso, again, was at a lower 588 up to 1,000 coins. Sergio Roberto, a lower 593 up to 1,000 coins. Now, the rises in these are interesting because they only really saw a massive spike by the time they got to the Friday, okay? So on the Thursday, they were at price on average, they bounced up, and it's important to realise, like I say, these are averages. I remember Sergio Roberto was going to sort of 12, 1,300 at one point. And this is when everyone was on the game. This Friday was when everyone got on the game, so they were all going to do the marquee matchups because it was tradable packs back. It was a really, really simple way to try and pack yourself something early doors. So what can we take from this? Well, it's difficult to be able to predict the games for the UCL. They can choose absolutely any game. A lot of people are talking about the Napoli, Real Madrid, I believe it is, and the Man City, Leipzig. Now, we know that the trend, as my phone goes off, we know that the trend for these cards has tended to be in the commons going up in value, okay? So what we're going to go and do quickly is we're going to have a little look at, you can go on to FC24 players, and you want to look at the gold commons. That's where they usually have the most rise, okay? And we're going to look at someone like Leipzig, in case I choose Leipzig tonight. And what we're going to do is we're going to search that and apply the filters. And you're going to see that Leipzig have a lot of sort of very cheap players, a lot of really cheap players. So now if you think that most gold cards will min sell for 350, your risk in buying these cards is not that high. You're talking about 100 coin risk in buying these cards. However, if they double in value, whatever you invest into them, you're making double back. Now, does that mean you go out and buy 1,000 of these cards? No, it doesn't. I don't buy into cards. If I'm going to buy into cards with marquee matchups until it comes out, and it has to be a really decent requirement. It has to be something like 2 players for Man City or Leipzig, or potentially 1 from each. That's the only way that I really get involved with buying these players, but it worked. But there was a massive thing that happened. For some people, specifically, I think it was a lot of the guys on the web app, but for some people, you couldn't submit the Barcelona Sevilla SBC. You had to use Sevilla women for some reason. And this is what happened to them. They got as high as 6,000 coins. So when the SBC comes out, at the moment, there are a lot of sort of errors that are going to be on the game because it is brand new. That's just going to happen. You're going to see these cards potentially rise. And if you can spot an error, if there is an error on there, jump on it. Always jump on it because everybody's going to want to do marquee matchups. So make sure you are aware of what's going on. So we know that the market's probably going to dip a little bit tonight, and we know the sort of cards we want to buy into. And again, if you're not sure about what your budget might be, what I suggest you to do is to go to FC24 players like this, and I would just go like maybe League, I don't know, Premier League, right? We're going to go Premier League, and we're going to go max rating, and we're going to go, where is it? Max rating is here. And we're just going to search for everything that's 83 and below that is a gold rare, okay? That's what we're going to search for. We're going to apply the filters to that. And we're going to look for the cards that are all over a certain amount. So Saliba, potentially, if you're mid-budget, could work, or high budget. Gakpo, again, is broken away from that sort of low-rated fodder price. It's not that price. Fernandez, Sterling, Lloris, Nunes. All these cards here, they've all got some form of demand to them. So again, if they drop off in price and you can pick them up, then that's a great idea. Again, Hunters and Shadows being important. But also, sometimes they may not drop in price significantly. So what you're looking for instead is some snipes. And that can help you. So let's say Sterling only really gets down to 4k. That's not a massive drop. It's not a drop off enough for you to really care. But you can snipe him up. And he's not going to appear on everyone's standard hunter sniper filters because he's well above the price of a cheap hunter. Like with most of the hunters are 16, 1700. So you could sit on sterling, or you could set a filter up basically for Chelsea, maximum price 2,400 or whatever, and pick up a few that come along. But you'll be able to see these players continually, and all of them are investable. They're all investable for a short-term hold, but they've got to get down enough realistically. But then we talk about what can you buy after from the rewards, okay? So we're talking about the gold cards. Now, something that did incredibly well last week was from these objectives here. We got an objective last week that was called Theme Team Pursuit, okay? And what it did was it gave you a gold players pack, a 75 plus rated rare player pack, a 75 plus rated rare player, and a small Electrum players pack, alongside then an 80 plus times 5. Now, what happened here was EA included a requirement for silvers in this, okay? And then you only needed 5 from each of these leagues to complete the SBC. And that meant that silvers in these leagues spiked because you could put 5 Eredivisie, 5 Spain Liga F that were silver into the same team and complete 3 of these objectives in once. And they went absolutely crazy. At one point, they got as high as like 2.5, 3,000 coins and sat like that for a good few hours, okay? So now, you want to check if an objective like that comes up tonight. But what's likely to happen, not guaranteed, but what's likely to happen is, in those marquee matchup supplies, you're going to get yourself some silver supply. So whether that's a premium Electrum pack, a rare Electrum pack, anything like that, you're going to see some silver supply if EA drop that. So what do we do with that? Well, first things first, we know that the players from those leagues are expensive, okay? Now, they've gone down a lot in value because obviously a lot of people have gone and completed that objective now, but they still have value. And they're still a little bit above what other leagues are. So you can invest in them if they get low enough, or you can just flip them and trade them. Let's say these cards get down to sort of 400 coins today. I'd be interested in investing in them without a doubt. Easy. But then what else you can do, something that I always advise everyone to do, and that is to club stock silvers, okay? So if we look at the likes of the Premier League, and we look at what their silvers are currently selling for, you can pick them up. There's one there, he's literally still sitting there at 400 coins, so you can pick them up at 400 if you want to. I'm going to guess they're probably 450 because he's sitting there. They are indeed. So they're 450 coins. So tonight, you can get involved in just club stocking these into your club, okay? Now, the most important things to think about are when will they go up in value. Just requires a half-decent SBC, and most of them will see a rise. So if you see a load of golds from that league go up, the silvers tend to follow them up. If we get league SBCs very later on, you've already bought into them and you've saved yourself some coins because they're really at the lowest they're going to be so far this year. And if you can get some gold rares in there as well, that's going to help massively. Because let's say, figuratively speaking, you get a marquee match ups later in the week and it says, oh, you need a rare or 2 rares from the Premier League, yours might see a rise. But it also just comes into it. Some of these may come into solutions. So if they come into a solution online, they're going to boom in value. But usually the silvers have been, historically this year, at 700, 800 coins. And at the moment, they're incredibly low. So club stocking these guys up, if you get the rares, as you can see here at 450, if you can get these down at 350, 400, they're literally zero risk. The most you're risking on a 400 coin card is about 50 coins, which is nothing really. And if you can get these guys at sort of 300, 350 for the commons, again, the most you're risking is really 100 coins because they're all going to min sell at 200 anyway. So there's so little risk involved in it. So if you're low budget, let's say you've got 100k sitting there, you could literally throw 30k into these guys here. Now 30k into 100 silvers at 300 coins, 30k into 300 coin silvers is 100 silvers, okay? That is a really, 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 really easy way to make profit. Because if they go from 300 to 900, you tripled your money. So your 30k turns to 90k before tax. If they double, it's 60k before tax. And I've always done this every year. No matter what coins I've got, I've always stocked up and invested into all of these cards and just left them sitting in the club. Because at some point they're going to be needed. And there's times where I've bought cards and lo and behold, in a week's time, they've got to 1,500, 2,000 coins. So you can invest in the top 5 leagues. You can also invest in any other league you think EA are potentially going to bring stuff out. So the Barclays Women's Super League, they may bring out an SBC for these or an objective for these guys. Again, they've done it for Liga F. There's nothing to say they won't do it for this league. Simple as. And you can look at other leagues. We've done Serie A, so I don't think we're going to see the Serie B. Could be the D1 French Women's League. Could be another option. We know the Eredivisie was done, so maybe the Portuguese League. All of them at some point are going to be needed and they're all going to be worth money, worth coins. Even if you go and put, I don't know, 20 from each league into your club, you're going to get your coins back handsomely in return in the long term. You're really, really going to do well from it. But they're the simple ways that you can make coins last night. The easiest trading methods on this game, and all of them are very, very low risk. You're not going to have to worry. to get involved in them. I might be live tonight. I'm hoping to be live tonight. But it all comes down to what we're doing. It is my brother's birthday, so I may be out with him celebrating. But either way, we're back again the next day. So that's going to be Wednesday on Twitch again, all right? If you're new around here, make sure you subscribe down below. Make sure notifications are turned on so you never miss an upload. But for now, I'm out. Peace out. Speak to you soon.